The UK Biobank studying a huge group of people who are still healthy, tracking them for years before anything happens. The goal? To predict future disease, not just watch a disease that's already got a foothold. It's a total game changer. Back in the early 2000s, this radical new idea came about. What if we built a massive library of health data? A resource so big and so detailed that it could help us spot the tiniest clues that pop up right before a disease takes hold. And when I say massive, I am not kidding. The UK Biobank recruited 500,000 volunteers, people between the ages of 40 and 69. And this is so much more than just a survey. No. For every single one of those 500,000 people, the biobank gathered this incredibly deep set of data. We're talking everything from detailed questionnaires about their lifestyle to cognitive tests to blood samples for deep genetic analysis. And this is so important. They got permission to link all of that to each person's lifelong electronic health records. And now they've added the most powerful tool in the whole arsenal, advanced imaging. Right. So this imaging part is basically a whole massive project within the main project. And the scale of it is, well, it's just staggering. The goal here is nothing short of creating the world's largest and most comprehensive collection of brain scans ever. So they're inviting 100,000 of the original participants back to get their brains, their hearts, and their bodies scanned. It's a completely unprecedented look inside the biology of an entire population. And this is where the logistics just get wild. I mean, to hit that 100,000 person target, they had to streamline the whole process into an art form. Each person is in and out of the MRI scanner in just 36 minutes. And in that tiny window of time, they capture 6 completely different types of brain scans. The best way to think about these different scans is like having a toolkit for looking at the brain. Each tool in the kit is designed to measure something different, and when you put it all together, scientists get this remarkably complete picture of what's going on. Okay, so tool number 1 is a structural scan. You can think of this as a super high-resolution 3D map of the brain's anatomy. It shows you the size and shape of all the different parts, and it can reveal things like tissue loss, which is a classic hallmark of diseases like Alzheimer's. Next up in the toolkit is diffusion MRI. Now this is really cool. This technique actually tracks how water molecules are moving around to map out the brain's white matter. That's the complex web of wiring connecting everything together. It shows us the brain's physical information superhighway. And finally, we've got functional MRI, or fMRI. This is the tool that shows the brain in action. It tracks tiny changes in blood flow to see which parts of the brain are lighting up and talking to each other, forming these functional networks. So it's not just about the structure. It's about how that structure is actually being used moment to moment. Now, here's a really key idea. The raw brain scans themselves are basically just pictures. To make them useful, scientists run them through this automated process that pulls out thousands of meaningful measurements. They call these image-derived phenotypes, or IDPs for short. An IDP can be anything really, like the exact volume of the hippocampus or the strength of a connection between 2 different brain regions. And this is where you really see the power. Using data from just the first 5,000 people, that's only 5% of the final goal. Researchers found thousands of new links. They connected over 2,500 of these brain IDs to things like lifestyle, blood tests, and cognitive scores. So what you're seeing here, every single one of those dots represents a brand new, statistically significant discovery. Thousands of them, from just a tiny fraction of the data. But simple one-to-one connections can sometimes be a bit misleading. The human body is this ridiculously complex system, right? A lifestyle choice doesn't just affect one little spot in the brain. It probably affects a whole pattern of different features. And that's where the next level of analysis gets really, really interesting. Using some pretty advanced methods, researchers can uncover what they call population modes. The best way to think about it is like finding a hidden recipe. So instead of just finding that sugar is linked to one bad outcome, a mode shows you the entire recipe of ingredients, like diet and exercise and sleep, all mixed together, and how that whole recipe is connected to a whole collection of features across the brain. And this kind of analysis uncovers connections you would just never spot otherwise. For instance, one of these modes found this completely surprising link between a person's bone density, how well they did on cognitive tests, and the physical health of very specific parts of their brain. A connection like that has never been seen before, and it points to these deep biological processes that connect our bodies and our brains in ways we're just starting to understand. So, all of this brings us to the ultimate goal, the whole reason this massive project even exists. I mean, these early findings are amazing, but they're really just the start. The true power of the UK Biobank will be unleashed as these 500,000 people get older, and unfortunately, some of them start to develop diseases. I mean, look at these projections. Thousands of people in this imaging study are expected to be diagnosed with major diseases in the coming years. And when that happens, scientists can essentially hit rewind. They can go back in time to look at the brain scans that were taken years, maybe even a decade, before that person got sick, and finally answer the question, what was different? What were the absolute earliest signs we could have possibly seen? And what's so critical is that this data isn't locked away in some vault. The UK Biobank is an open access resource. That means any qualified researcher anywhere on the planet can apply to use this data to test their own ideas. It's a truly global library for humanity, designed to speed up discoveries for everyone. So let's just end on this thought. We've already seen what's possible with just 5% of the imaging data. What secrets about the human brain, about aging, about disease, what are we going to finally unlock when all 100,000 brains are decoded and linked to decades of health information? The answers could literally redefine medicine as we know it.